Yo, Mr. Richard, how are you?
What's happening? Jay Zilla. What's good, my guy?
Oh man, I did go by the government name. My bad. Yeah, and what? It's been quite the goal, man. How are you?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Got the
Yeah.
show topic today, getting yourself going. So I thought that was fitting. One, because hello audience, welcome back to ugh, to Urban Academia podcast. Myself, Jay Zilla, and Chulo Rich. As you can see, getting myself going is on my mind. I thought we'd bring that to the audience today.
I can dig that. I can dig.
Absolutely. I see you back at the homestead, man.
Yeah, man. I'm in for a hot second.
All right, all right. So getting yourself going, man. I mean, it's such an easy, kind of low hanging fruit. It's one of those things, I deal with, and I believe that, I'm not alone in that. So I don't know how you want to start this thing off, man. You have times where you need to fire yourself up, and if so, how do you do it?
And constantly, brother. And I'm, you know, you grow all throughout your life, and I constantly hit different growth points, and each growth point is harder for me than the last growth point. You know, I end up fighting myself um, more than anything, and but it has to be done. So getting
Mm.
going. When you said that, that's the first thing that struck my mind was, you know, and sometimes it's not just getting going. Sometimes it's continuing, but they all run in the same boat. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for me right now, my struggle is continuing, not necessarily getting going, but continuing. You know, so
Man, so for me, it was had only I can't even call it a panic attack, but the anxious feeling of like when things change in a major way, you know,
absolutely,
and you get
absolutely.
off of like because I'm telling you, I had a good solid um regimen, I guess you could say routine, whatever.
Mhm.
A couple things changed, job schedule, we moved from our apartment into a house. And man, I've been struggling with getting back on track, so to speak, And I
Yeah.
was looking at it and like, how like what's going on, man? Like, that vicious cycle of okay, maybe I lay down a little bit longer past my alarm, right? And then I feel
Mhm.
bad about laying down and missing my alarm, which makes me want to just lay down even more because now I'm feeling,
Yeah.
feeling bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But because I'm doing that now, I feel even worse because now time is going on and on and on. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
one of those vicious cycles. And I had this situation where I was like, bro, if you can just get to the bathroom, I get you now. Please just get up and get to the bathroom, get in the shower, you feel the water, that's gonna save you. Come on, let's go,
Yeah.
let's do it. And I did it and felt great. And it's like, oh, I'm just wondering, like, does anybody else have a struggle like that, man?
I'm quite certain. I don't, one thing about it is, man, when we talk and we get to talk to other people, man, it's so helpful because when you're going through something, you feel like you're the only person in the world that goes through that. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's not that way. I know for me, uh, I music helps me a lot because the artists that I tend to listen to have, uh, you could tell they may have had the same struggles that I feel like that I go through. So uh, I place a lot in that. Um, Learning new things um, takes my mind off of shit. You know, if I can
Mhm.
learn something new that I didn't know, I'll forget about all of the, whatever garbage that's on my mind. You know, and just
Right,
focus on
man.
learning something. The interest of something I don't know. But we gotta be able to get out of our own way. You know,
Mm.
Mm. I'm the most destructive thing in my life. You
Man.
know, if if my head ain't where it needs to be, you know, um, and if those that are around me, you know, can't keep my head where I need to be, then I gotta, you know, find somewhere to be. But
Right. I know for me, hearing you say you're the most destructive person in your life, you want to elaborate on that? Because my first inclination was to flinch and like, oh no, no way. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, at the end of the day, no, and I hate this. I hate having more knowledge than I have self-control, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? At
Mhm.
the end of the day, I only control my limbs, my brain, my mouth. I cannot control another individual, another human being, period. You know,
Right.
down to my son when he grows up. There's nothing he's gonna make his own decisions. Um, man, but I'm the only person who can, decide to do something, not to do something, react, not react, how I'm gonna react, how I'm not gonna react, and I think it's important to know yourself. And I'm a person that um when pushed, uh, I will push back,
Mm.
and I'll probably push back harder than I got pushed. You know, it's kind of like my boy called it a snowball effect. Once it
Yes.
gets started, it just rolls, gets bigger, bigger. For me, I call it fuck it syndrome. You know, we already here, fuck it, and that's not healthy. It's not
Yeah.
healthy for me to do or act that way, and it's not healthy for those around me to push either. You know what I mean? It's unhealthy all the way around. But
Absolutely, man. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. So what we kind of talk about is the sacrifice, and sacrifice can be something huge, right? Because you think about it biblically, you think sacrifice your son, right?
mhm.
Ram in the bush sort of situation. But I want to talk more on the smaller end of what sacrifice is, right? That idea of sacrifice the now for the later. We can look at it as, hey man, I'm not gonna get the new video game for my kid or buy me some new shoes because we want to take a trip to the beach, later on this month, right? That's sacrificing the now for the later. Um, but what about the smaller things, man? I could, like trying to stay in my own example, right? I
Mhm.
could just lay in his bed and just get a little more quote unquote rest, right? Because is it rest really if you're sitting there, worried about stuff you need to be doing?
Right.
But sacrificing that little extra, 5-10 minutes in the bed while knowing that getting up on time and getting to a routine at the time that you decided you need to do it at that could be sacrificing the now, right, for the later as well. So I'm gonna go into this video. Now bear with us. We'll stop it here in a little bit, but this is from Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. What's up, Mr. Dean? Sidney Williams in the building. So for people who may just be tuning in, we're talking about getting yourself going. All right, and this is gonna be just gonna share a quick, shout out to. Well, I gotta do better at giving people credit because I know we gonna want credit when it's our turn. But shout out to Word to the Wise on YouTube. I came across this and thought it was pretty interesting. Uh-oh, lost Mr. Rich there. Hang on. All right.
This is the Peter Pan story, roughly speaking. Peter Pan is this magical boy. Pan is the god of everything, roughly speaking, right? And so it's not an accident that he has the name Pan. And he's the boy that won't grow up. And he's magical. Well, that's because children are magical. They can be anything. They're nothing but potential. And Peter Pan doesn't want to give that up. Why? Well, he's got some adults around him, but the main adult is Captain Hook. Well, who the hell wants to grow up to be Captain Hook? First of all, you've got a hook. Second, you're a tyrant. And third, you're chased by the dragon of chaos with a clock in its stomach, right? The crocodile. It's already got a piece of you. Well, that's what happens when you get older. Time has already got a piece of you. And eventually, it's got a taste for you. And eventually, it's going to eat you. And so Hook is so traumatized by that he can't help but be a tyrant. And then Peter Pan looks at traumatized hook and says, well, no, I'm not sacrificing my childhood for that. So that's fine, except he ends up king of the Lost Boys. In Neverland, well, Neverland doesn't exist, and who the hell wants to be king of the Lost Boys? And he also sacrifices the possibility that he'll have a real relationship with a woman, because that's Wendy, right? And she's kind of conservative, middle-class, London-dwelling girl. She wants to grow up and have kids and have a life. She accepts her mortality. She accepts her maturity. Peter Pan has to content himself with Tinkerbell. She doesn't even exist. She's like the fairy of porn. She doesn't exist. She's the substitute for the real thing. But the dichotomy that you're talking about is very tricky, because there's a sacrificial element in maturation, right? You have to sacrifice the pluripotentiality of childhood for the actuality of a frame. And the question is, well, why would you do that? Well, one reason is it happens to you whether you do it or not. You can either choose your damn limitation, or you can let it take you unaware when you're 30, or even worse, when you're 40. And then that is not a happy day. I see people like this, and I think it's more and more common in our culture, because people can put off maturity without suffering an immediate penalty. But all that happens is the penalty accrues, and then when it finally hits, it just wallops you. Because when you're 25, you can be an idiot. It's no problem. Even when you're out in a job search, it's like, well, you don't have any experience and you're kind of clueless. It's yeah, you're young. It's no problem. That's what young people are like, but they're full of potential. Okay, well, now you're the same person at 30. It's like people aren't so thrilled about you at that point. It's like, what the hell have you been doing for the last 10 years? Well, I'm just as clueless as I was when I was 22. It's, yeah, but you're not 22. You're an old infant, right? And that's an ugly thing, an old infant. So part of the reason you choose your damn sacrifice, because the sacrifice is inevitable, but at least you get to choose it. And then there's something that's even more complex than that in some sense, is that the problem with being a child is that all you are is potential, and it's really low resolution. You could be anything, but you're not anything. So then you go and you adopt an apprenticeship, roughly speaking, and then you become something. And when you're something, that makes the world open up to you again. Like if you're a really good plumber, then you end up being far more than a plumber, right? You end up being a good employer. If you're a really good plumber, well, then you have some employees, you run a business, you train some other people, you enlarge their lives, you're kind of a pillar of the community, you have your family. Once you pass through that narrow training period, which narrows you and constricts you and develops you at the same time, then you can come out the other end with a bunch of new possibility at hand. And Jung talked about that. He thought that part of the proper path of development in the last half of life was to rediscover the child that you left behind as you were apprenticing. And so then you get to be something and regain that potential at the same time. Very, very smart. Well, he was very, very smart. So that's very wise thing to know. So, yeah. Sacrifice. You get to pick your damn sacrifice. That's all. You don't get to not make one. You're sacrificial whether you want to be or not. That's a good thing to know as well.
Look, man, that was longer than I thought. Uh-oh, there he is. But yeah, I love that idea of you pick your own sacrifice, because you're gonna sacrifice something whether you want to or not, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that. I definitely believe that. No matter which way you go, but that's about how open your mind is and how much you can see. Some people stupid; they don't know they sacrificing or not sacrificing, or, Right. So yeah. But no matter what you do, there's cause and effect in everything. Everything has consequence to it in one way or another.
Right.
The Newton's law: every action has an opposite reaction. You know what I mean?
Opposite equal reaction. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You put on your science hat.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But all of that goes together, though. You know what I mean? So logically, yeah, there's nothing that can be done without some sort of consequence being it, but whether you care about that consequence or you care about that's a whole nother subject. That's now
Mhm.
you're dealing with the innards of people, whether they care about things or not.
Right.
you know.
Well, I love that part where he's talking about like, you're 22. It's like, no, you're not 22. You're an
Right,
old infant.
right, right,
And the idea that being an infant is, all you are is potential, right? You aren't anything yet,
right,
and that's what I
right.
feel like, man. Some of these days I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna lay here for 5 more minutes. But I mean, that's a childish thing to do, right?
Well, yeah, for sure. Especially when we have children. You know what I mean? One thing about it is, I try to check myself, man, when I realize I'm having a temper tantrum, or if I
Yeah.
can, if I can catch myself in a temper tantrum, I try to cut that short because I got too many. I got these little guys, man. I got to deal with
Mhm.
theirs. I can't throw one. So that's
Oh
that's
man.
where that man up comes into play. You know.
Right. Okay, so man up is sort of under attack as being a term that helps breed toxic masculinity, right? Like
Mm,
but I think what we're missing is like that's childish as well. Instead of just saying, "Oh, we need to get rid of that term," and that's gonna fix things, it needs to
right.
be more. Well, define the term. Like, what does it mean to man up? Like for me, man
Mm,
up means, yeah, it sucks, but you got to do it anyway. Why?
right.
Because you're going to get something out of this. It's
Right.
necessary for what you're trying to do. You know,
hmm
it could also be, get them dishes done, man. Your wife is tired. You wash the dishes, man up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Me and Dean were talking on the other show, just this balance. We were talking about blended families and finding balance in all things. And that's one of the things we talked about is, showing a kid how to, especially our boys, right? Showing boys how to be men does not necessarily mean I got to be tough, mad, angry father, right? If something doesn't go my way, I yell or, like you said, have a temper tantrum or, I'm popping that backside, right?
hmm
It also means like that child needs to see you doing some things to support a home, right? Not just you telling me, but they need to see that. They need to see you doing laundry, doing dishes, and working on the car, and treating your lady right, so they know what to do when they leave. Another thing we talked about is how a lot of times we see people. Oh, if you think about all the complaints that women have against men, right? And then look at how that man was brought up, uh, traditionally, especially if you have boys and girls in the home, you have the girls doing the cooking and the cleaning and the nurturing, right? They're playing with dolls and stuff. And the
hmm
boys are outside doing their work or they're staying with, going out with friends, make sure you home by the time the lights come on, all that kind of stuff. But then you fast forward to when they're a man, what's the complaint of the wife, right? Yeah, you're doing all this work, but then you out with your friends, you're coming home late. You know what I mean? It's just interesting how all those things sort of interconnect. But
hmm
it's
Because
something I'm definitely working on.
you trained. It's training.
Hmm.
I tell people that all the time. People so damn sensitive until they ain't sensitive. That shit kills me. People sensitive till
Yeah.
they ain't sensitive. You know. But you have to train people. You know. No, people are not dogs or animals, but you still have to train them. You know. And if
Right.
you do not, you end up, with a poor quality individual. It is what it is.
And we
You know.
talk about training, like even with what we're dealing with in geopolitics or here at, in America, especially when it comes to black people. Got a funny clip from you. This comes from let's look at here. Jay-Z Action Productions on
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah, shout out to him. This is a video. Just think about what I'm about to show you here and how people are trained to think in a certain way, whether you know it or not. Right?
Right.
All right.
And forfeit. And no end. Randy.
Oh man, did you catch that? Uh-oh. Did I lose you again? Hold on. Unmute your mic. Sorry. Oh, your mic is still muted. There you go. Yeah, did you catch that?
Nah, I didn't. I didn't catch a video.
Oh, hang on. I'm about to show it again because that's hilarious. It's one of those things you talk about being trained, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like listen to what letter he calls on Wheel of Fortune and then what actually is popping up on the screen.
And 450. And no end. Brandy.
So the word the word is supposed to be clam digger, and the only thing that was missing was the D. And he guessed in. Like, you think he went on national TV and was just like, well, yeah, of course, that's what everybody would have guessed, you know, but it just came out of it. You can see his face, you can see the host face, and just being like, okay, no in. Moving on. Right, clown. Right, man. So like we have to understand that, you know, we go through life, we have whatever we are naturally, and then we're nurtured by our environment, right? Into something. But having that benefit of the doubt for how people are when we're communicating and talking and trying to figure out how to turn things around, like put myself in other people's shoes, right? For one, and for two, hopefully we're getting that back. So when we have conversations or interactions, we're getting to a place where, you know, it's fruitful. You know, instead of jumping straight to tearing somebody down, firing somebody from a job or any of that stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. That's one of my biggest struggles.
That takes work, man. Yeah, that takes work, you know.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, the conversation ain't like that. You got one of each. And you're
Right.
trying to have that conversation to get
Right.
to where you know is a normal place. But you're not able to do that, you know.
Right. Man, we talked about the old movie, What About Bob? So, you know, me and Dean go down these nostalgic trips, right?
Mhm.
I guess they're making another Home Alone. You have to
Okay.
check that out, that trailer. But you know, going down that we're talking about what was it? It's a Bill Murray movie. That's called
What
What
about
About
Bob?
Bob? Yeah, remember that?
Oh
So
yeah.
when he's talking about baby steps, right? Baby steps to
Mhm.
the car, baby steps from the, you know, I
Mhm.
literally had to I dug in my bag and had to pull that out to kind of get going. You know, like I use that, you know, like I said before, like, man, just get to the shower, get
Yeah.
to the car, get up there, make sure the kids are getting ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
What's something that's kind of silly that you use, you know, I guess a tactic that you may use to get yourself going?
I don't know that I really, you know, use too many tactics, like I said, other than music, bro. I'm a person that, you know, listening and feeling the fact that, you know, because music you know, has a lot of power, and if
Mhm.
that artist can convey to me his feelings and make his or her feelings line up or make my feelings make sense, then I just listen to that, and I realize that it's not only me. And once I realize that it's not only me, the pressure starts to move. You know,
Mhm.
there may still be a little anger or something there, hurt, whatever, but the pressure that initially feels like uh, somebody's doing something just to me, you know, that it helps that go away, you know, because when you're feeling that, that'll bring other things, you know, when you realize it's not just you and other people are going through all type of different things. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
times, you know, when you're alone or you don't have your mother or your father or your aunt, or whoever taught you all of these lessons, when you don't
Right.
have them around to say to you uh, whatever they said to you to get you to the place that you are in, you know, to the understanding that you have, you know, and you got to call upon that or recall that for yourself and actually use it. It's kind of difficult. You know what I mean? It's easy when they standing there and they telling you, you know, don't react this way or don't show that any attention or, you know, but when they're not there and they're not doing that and it's just up to you, it's a little more difficult. You know what I mean? But as far as just, you know, getting up and getting going, hey man, I turn to my music, you know.
Love it.
You know, it's not really. I may think about, you know, some things that have to happen regardless, you know, and that's that man up shit again we was talking about, you know, as a man. Sometimes we get the short end of the stick, we get the shitty end, you know. We get the road less traveled, and you have to learn to deal with that, and that's hard. You know, it's hard to learn to damn near be put second fiddle, but be expected to stand in front of bullets and pay for everything and whatever else we're supposed to do.
Right.
You know, and then you feel like you're undervalued. That can cause an issue. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's where, you know, the guy was talking about this Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, talking about being you're an old infant, right? Understanding that, like, yeah, you're supposed to get the short end of the stick, but as long as you can see what is moving towards, right? You know, us being very aiming people, you know, we need something to aim at. That's just for me, it feels like one of the facts of life. You need something to aim at. So when you're taking those, what you may or may not feel like are unnecessary bullets, right, or getting that end of the stick, you know, it feels like, okay, yeah, for now, it's temporary, right? I think for a lot of people, it can feel like it's ongoing, you know, like you said, like you feel like things are happening to you and only you. Well, I mean, that could be from people, from situations, it can be from yourself. You know, there are plenty of times where, you know, I have these incompetent moments and I think, man, if I would have just, right, if I would have just, that's a very dangerous way of thinking, right? I think what I work hard on is trying to switch that from, man, if I would have just, to like, okay, I didn't do this and here's what happened. So now I know what to do next time.
Yeah.
And now I feel better prepared.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm definitely a next time person, you know.
Next time, right.
And I say that because I spent years of my life, literally sitting there saying, if I had just done this, if I had just done, but I was sitting in a little cell. It didn't matter what the fuck I might have done, or if I had I didn't. And I was in that room with the door locked. So having all of those thoughts didn't do shit but stress me out further in the situation I was in.
Right.
So I learned through that I should have done this or I should have done that means shit, you know. What am I gonna do next time? You know, I try to get that plan together. Next time I'm gonna do this. Next time I'm gonna do this. I can't what I should have did. You know, I don't know who you think you are to go back and rewind the clock, fix it, change it, whatever. It's not possible. You know,
well, you can't. So that there lies where a lot of the anxiety and, you know, the depression comes in, right? When there's something you cannot change. You can't change that, right? But there you are playing it over and over in your head. You know, I know studies show that when you have a memory or you think about something, a lot of times people are transported back there so vividly that you feel those same anxieties like it's just happening. You know, like it's one of those things, man. But I know, like, with the shows and stuff and trying to balance a few things, family and business and all that, like, it's very easy to get caught in that type of thinking, right? Man, you know, I should have done this, I should have done that. It's like, no, next time. You know, I like how you said, you know, you're sitting in a cell. I'm telling you, it's something to that, having to be still somewhere that can really cause you to really, you know, think about some things and you know, helps open up help open up a lot for you, right? Mentally.
I mean, it's not the coolest shit to do, you know what I mean? But
right,
it's definitely its own therapy. It's its own anger management. It's its own a lot of things, but it only exists while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may birth all these different thoughts and these different things, but the only reason they stay active is because the door stays locked. You know, when the door opens, you get access to the rest of your brain and the rest of your thoughts, and then those just go away.
Right. Do you feel like that's what happened with the pandemic? A lot of people had to sit down and just you were forced to think. Yeah.
Most definitely. Some people, some people, you know, thought is not a natural. It's not natural for them. They don't have a natural get up and go getter thing about it,
Mentality. Yeah.
you know, mentality. And I think that the pandemic definitely changed that about a lot of people. You know, a lot of people got laid off, or or just lost their job altogether. You know, were sick, couldn't go to work. You know, different reasons. But
Mhm.
bills didn't stop. Did nobody suspend the bills or stop that shit from happening? So
Man, that's the truth.
you know, you had to think on your feet. You know, and I think it did birth a new era of businesses and just people thinking in general. You know, which is good. You know, everything has a double-edged sword, like we was just talking about. You know, there's no matter what, there's always going to be a consequence on this side and on this side. You know what I mean? Yes, it's going to shut down things and cause people to lose jobs and this and that, but it's also going to cause people to start businesses. You know, cause people to think about how to prevent some of these things in the
Yeah.
future. You know what I mean? So
But look,
yeah.
man, it also caused people to get a little silly, and look, we gonna we like to take a laugh break because Tony and look, I keep going back to Tony. Chulo, man, and I can get really, serious when we get into these thoughts and like, let's find some
For sure.
thought-provoking, provocative things and break it down and try to get some solutions. But every now and then we gotta do a little laugh break. So this is something else that was going on during the pandemic and even now. So check this out.
Nasia.
Oh, can you shut up? I'm trying to make a TikTok.
What?
You're not even my mom anyway.
Wait, baby, we're joking.
What?
We're just joking.
Y'all gotta stop playing.
Loser. You burnt them.
That's
hard, Jasmine.
Where?
Boy.
Did you clean your room?
These challenges.
This is what you call a challenge. Not when you was little, man. You don't
Clean your room.
challenge.
Keep watching.
Mama or
Why
dad.
not? I told you to clean it earlier.
Yeah, no, dude, shut up. God dang, dude.
¡Eh, pendejo!
It was a joke.
Hey, some of these ended real fast, right? And they had to, right? So pandemic caused you to sit down and think, I need to have some other options, gotta make more money, gotta save better, but also birthed a lot of these silly challenges. One being we're gonna record our family secretly, right? And we're gonna have the kid tell the mom shut up and just to see the dad's reaction. Man, that's a dangerous game they were playing, boy.
Man, yeah. I guess. I don't get all this challenge stuff, man. People crazy, you know what I mean?
People crazy.
Teachers on, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious. Look, my wife chuckles in. I'm like, look, man, please, pretty please do not make sure
man. But what if you don't stop me? What if I didn't
Right,
hear
man.
you say it was a joke? You know what I mean?
Oh man, you see how a couple like the dad, the first one who spit his water out and he set his phone by the liquid. That's not a person in their right mind. In that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
He spit liquid on the table, then put the phone on the table. He don't even care about the phone, man.
Yeah. Man, people don't understand that. People think you could just poke people and they just gonna be normal. No, they're not. Yeah, leave people alone.
I know, man. And look, to update the crate challenge, they were begging people to stop doing it, right? Because it was causing so many injuries. Like,
I mean,
yeah, man.
gracious, when I saw the baby do it, dog, that was out of line.
The
You had
baby.
me.
Look, the baby, not to be confused with the baby, right?
Right, not that nigga.
Ooh, going through it, man. But
Oh,
yeah, so if
man.
you join us, we're talking about getting yourself going. We haven't done this in a while, right? If anybody in the audience has a good story or maybe a good tactic, like how do you get yourself going? Right, just click the link right there, popping up, boom, to my Facebook viewers especially. But yeah, this link right here, click it, follow the prompts. You can come on with us and chit chat before we get up out of here. But yeah, man, I love the idea of one making a plan, right? We
Mhm.
oftentimes, don't really plan our day. I've been talking with another boy of mine, which man, I need to call that dude. So I've been slacking, he's trying to reach out, and I've just kind of been in wherever I go, right? But what we were talking about was this tactic that we got, which is planning out your day, how you think your day should go. Kind of asking yourself the question, like, if I were to have a perfect day, right? How would that look? And then literally write it down, put it in your phone, whatever, plan the day out. So that way you're doing it doesn't feel so much as, oh, here I go. Gotta take these kids over here, gotta do this for myself and my business and all this stuff. It really turns out that, you feel better about it. It's like a mental jujitsu, right? It's a trick, because you're not just following this rigorous schedule that you just have to do. Like, no, this is what I plan to do, right? So, any kind of tactic like that, man. See if y'all can share that in the comments. Come on and talk with us. But Mr. Rich, you got your music thing. Talk to me about a time where maybe that didn't work. Like, what did you do instead?
Times that, well, it's not a definite, you know what I mean? And sometimes you just gotta sit in it, man. Sometimes you gotta deal with it. And sometimes you gotta deal with it until you realize it's not gonna kill me one way or another, you know. I either need to be left alone at that point in time or find somebody to talk to. I got a couple friends, and thank God we could talk to each other and be real with each other. And that's a big help. It's a big help when you have people that you can talk to.
Mhm.
You don't have to sugarcoat shit. You can just be real and just have a conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
For my mental health and my stability, that's a big thing. That's important for me to be able to talk when I need to talk. You know. So having a couple friends like that, has definitely helped. I got dogs. Dealing with them helps
Mhm.
because I can remember that no matter what I've ever done, felt, said, thought, these motherfuckers love me as soon as I
Right.
show up.
Like,
You
hey,
know,
you good? You good? All right, come on. Throw this
right.
ball. Let's get it going.
Right.
Simple.
So I got a few
Simple, right?
go-tos, you know what I mean? My sons,
Mhm.
my sons have never shunned me, never turned me away, you know what I mean? So I go to my go-tos, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Music I listen to has never stopped me from, you know what I mean, feeling a certain way or never added to anything. My children always, because I can look at them and remember what everything is for. And I know that they're always going to be behind me one way or another, you know. Uh, and just, just having some people I could talk to when I need to talk, you know.
I like trying to figure out the balance of them. Like you talk, like I go through the same thing. I'm sure people out there do too. Click the link if you want to come on and join us. But yeah, the idea that there are times I need to be left alone. There are times I need somebody to kind of push me. There's times I need to talk to somebody. Sometimes it's just, like you talked about, like throwing on some music, man. Just anything to get yourself going.
Mhm.
And I know for me, it's routine. If I am planning, and I tried this experiment with my girls too. I'm one of those people. I see some, I'm getting on them. They're 16 and 12. It was like, hey, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And my wife stopped me one time. It was like, that's a pretty bad way to start a day.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? Hey, what's up? Who That Podcast? Keon, Miss Richard. Hello. Man, we just anyway, I gotta do better at shouting people out, man. Help me out. But yeah, trying to get my girls going. And my wife told me that's a bad way for them to start their day. I'm saying, well, what am I supposed to do? They're not doing X, Y, Z, and you note it and handle it and come up with a plan on how they can be successful the next day. And it like blew my mind. I mean, it blew my mind. Like these simple things, like, yeah, it's 7:30 in the morning, it's 6:30 in the morning. Now's not the time to be, lecturing them as I'm taking them to school. You know what I mean? Like they got
Yeah.
enough to deal with at school. But we
Yeah.
get home, hey, let's talk about this morning. When y'all run late, I run late.
Yeah.
When I run late, I gotta stay over more. When I stay over, I pick y'all up later. When I pick y'all up later, you off your game, and just kind of went through the whole domino or snowball effect, as you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But what that did was then I allowed them to talk and tell me about why you struggle getting up, or what can we do to help. And it was really fruitful. They actually had a lot to say when I decided to shut up a little bit and listen, right?
Yeah.
And what came out of that was like, all right, let's take showers the night before. Great, we can do that. All right, let's get clothes ready the night before. Great. You done with your homework? Pack your Chromebooks, your mask, and your backpacks in the car right away. Great.
Right.
Then the next day is so smooth. I had to fight that feeling of like, man, why didn't I do that before? Instead of celebrating, hey, we did this as a team and it's better. So let's keep doing better,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really I don't go against them. I know that planning is the right thing to do, but that ain't my thing. Wife does all the planning stuff. That's not my thing. I don't like to feel like I don't know. I guess I don't like too many plans at one time. Generally,
Yes.
you already got a plan. And when somebody else brings a plan, you already got one. Kind of like, I'm in the middle of this. You want me to execute that. I'm still doing this.
Right. Right.
I can't really. I'm not good at that. So she handles the planning. I just execute shit the best I can, one at a time.
But isn't that a plan? You know what I mean? She's better with the plan
If
stuff.
you planned it to be that way.
Right.
Me personally, I know I'm not good at plans. So when it comes to plans, I just let her do it,
Right.
And it's not necessarily that was the plan. It's that I know you're better at it than me.
But that's communicated though, right?
It
Let me
has
tell
to
you,
be
that was a blind
communicated.
spot for me. My wife works in banking. She comes home and does a bunch of spreadsheets for fun, right? That's something she enjoys. So yeah, paying the bills and all that kind of stuff, and the budget and saving and all of that, right? She's a Southern woman. She loves cooking. One of those kick you out the kitchen. But the blind spot that I had was just assuming alone, that okay, she handles all that stuff because she's better. I'll do X, Y, Z because I'm, I have an aptitude for that. But her coming to me and feeling overwhelmed because sometimes I want you to do this and step up here, there, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I didn't realize. I just assumed, hey man, you're brilliant at that. I'm not so much. That's your job now, But yeah, so yeah, we gotta
think like that because vice versa. If I know, oh, I'm good at this and you're not even going to talk to you about it. I'm just going to do that.
right,
You know what I mean? Because
right.
I'm taking it off of your shoulders, out of your way, alleviating it as a problem. That's just how I feel. But
Right.
one thing that I'm learning is just because I feel some kind of way, or I think something, or I feel this is logical, does not mean that's what's going on with anybody else, anywhere. You know what I mean?
But that's where the communication comes in with your partner, with your kids. You know, like even for them, my 16-year-old later on telling me that, like, you know, I didn't realize like it was such a delicate schedule. You know, I thought, I mean, she knew that I said, hey, we'd be leaving the house by 6:30, and like, yeah, but she didn't think about why, right? And you know, she appreciated me giving her the opportunity to talk about it, and then listening to me and saying, well, here's my why, right? And her being like, oh shoot, right? That's why you were late picking me up. Like, yeah, because I had to spend some more hours because you were late leaving the house. You know what I mean? But that communication with your coworkers, with communication is huge, man.
Mhm.
But like we talked about that old movie, What About Bob? You know, baby stepping. How can we make these small little adjustments to our day to day to get ourselves going, to be better, right? But I don't know. That's what, you know, I was half unprepared, half, you know, had some stuff on my chest. That's how we came up with this topic. But we really appreciate all y'all support, man. Even though Jay Zilla slacks quite a bit. We're
Hey
on
man,
Spotify. We're on,
growing together. You know what I mean? Ain't no perfection in this thing.
yeah.
And if there is, you know, we just started. So we're gonna pay our dues. We ain't looking to be perfect today, but we are looking to be honest. And if
Right,
that's what
man.
you're doing, you know, as a viewer, join us. You know what I mean? It's just some honest conversations, just some black guys, black men, you know, having honest conversations. You know.
Well, it's funny you said that. My main man Keon's joining us. What's up, man?
What's up,
Hey,
Hop?
what's happening? What's happening? I hear you. I'm listening to y'all talk, man. I want to get in there and kind of chime in a little bit, if that's all right with y'all.
Please,
For sure,
please.
brother. For sure.
Okay.
So,
Hey.
So we're talking about getting ourselves together and some tactics and things that we do, you know, how our success, our failures, right? And then how we kind of put it all together, mindset and in action. So I
Right.
guess we'll kick it to you, Mr. Hopkins, man. What are some things that, you know, you find yourself kind of slacking in? It could be depression or whatever. But what are some tactics or what are some things that you do to get yourself going?
I would definitely say trying to stay away from trying to, I guess, compete with other people
that's a good one.
because I think that sometimes people are on social medias and using social medias and thinking that this is the standard of where you need to be with your life, and you're not keeping up with that. So that makes you feel as if like you're not just like creating a false depression.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You know, just because you're inside your own lane and the way that the speed that your life moves doesn't mean that you're not staying consistent with everybody else, with the moves what they're making with their life, because because you don't know what those people are doing with their lives, and that's okay.
Right.
But you also gotta remember to stay inside your lane and stay humble and appreciate what you do have and not what you don't have.
Absolutely.
Man,
You know?
absolutely. Appreciate you joining us, man. I want you to hang out in the back room for a little bit.
Yeah,
As
I'll hang out
Paco-
for a little.
Yeah, man. As
Yeah,
Paco,
Call in, Hop.
oh, sorry
All right.
about that. Yeah. So as Paco writes in with you know, keeping on with the Joneses, that's what he was talking about, right?
Absolutely.
And we've hit on it a little bit, you know, about how we just kind of we do this thing where we need to put our heads down. First of all, aim at something. We all need to be aiming at something. Once you have that aim, put your head down, do the work little by little, and you know until you get to it. And then it's about creating something else. But that needs to come from within, right? If you're a single person, you need to be worried about your goals alone, right? If you have a significant other, then it becomes about you and wifey's goals. Then kids, you, wifey, and kids, and so on and so forth. However far you want to take that. But appreciate that, Mr. Hopkins. Man, look, as usual, Mr. Rich, give you the last word before we get out of here. Mr. Hopkins, don't go anywhere, though.
No doubt, man.
All right, man.
once again, man, it's been another Urban Academia, and we appreciate y'all tuning in and conversating with us. And it's this honest conversation that we're having. We will be back. We will have more conversation for you. Love, man. Love. Keep your mind in order, man. Whatever it takes for you to keep your mind in order, keep your mind in order. And we love you, and we'll see you next week.
For you. For you. For you. For you. For you. For you. For you.